Yeah, there's an excitement now, and they're looking forward to get on the road, just get it going. It's kind of been here a while, but the ice was good today and 2 days ago. They're enthusiastic about being out there. Lots of jump.
Yeah, just Paul, just a couple quick ones first. What do you remember? Because that was, I believe you were with Hartford at the time. What do you remember about the '96 Panthers?
Just, it's probably just to see. So in '96, right, you don't get anywhere near the video that you get now. You don't, like you were getting Jumbotron feeds on VHS tapes. It's the truth, and you'd get the Panther on there more than you would the face-offs, right? So you didn't get a lot of video in Hartford from Florida. But the stories, right, and kind of the generations from Roger Nielsen to Doug McLean. Yeah, there was the concern over the trap. It was a horrible thing. It was the scourge of the game. It had just come in. They didn't say much about it when Jersey won the Cup the year before, but it was awful that Florida ran it on them. And then Uwe Krupp's overtime goal. Remember that? And then the rest of it I get from Sylvain Lefebvre. So there's more of a Colorado perspective on that.
And as a follow-up, Barkov is kind of a quiet leader. How in your mind over the years has the relationship between coach and captain changed? Because captains are so different. Some guys are very vocal, some guys are laid back, and so as a coach, what do you look for in a captain?
A person that you can talk about the game and a person who has an understanding of his room. So when you go to him and ask, how you guys feeling? Where your body's at? That he is relatable enough to the people in the room, and he's connected enough that he can tell you what's going on in the room or what the game is. Also somebody that can describe the game to you, the players play, and their feedback or information they get about what they're doing on the ice, the acceptance of it, where they're at with it. That's really, really important, that part of the relationship. You can get him an honest conversation with a guy about where the team's at. He's very good at it. And he also has a different perspective. Like, we've got three unique leaders there just by position on Ekblad. Two guys that have been here a long time. We also got Patrick Hornquist, right? He was also an alternate captain here. So we got four guys there that all have a different perspective, but being able to access what they see on the ice. There are other players as well. Sam Reinhart would be a guy that if you want to find out what's going on in the game, you talk to Sam, because he's got a really keen eye from the bench. So just that interaction, all of them spend any time getting to a guy and tell him he's got to push himself harder because the team needs him to, right? Like, these guys all are in the gym. They all work out. They all push hard in practice. They're all intense in practice. So I don't have any concerns with any of that. We've never really had a conversation about that.
Is this the last practice before you guys fly out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You worked a lot on the power play. Obviously, that was a turning point in the Carolina series. How happy were you that you guys were able to adjust? Because the first game one, not great. Game two didn't start great, but then you get, three game-winning goals off the power play?
I felt that way in all three series, that there's a learning curve to styles of penalty kill. And in the regular season, I think you're so much focused on yourself because you're hitting a different team every night. So what you do is all you can almost control. Then you get into a playoff series and you can make adjustments. You got the video for sure, but you get on the ice, then it's different. Very pleased with a major adjustment in the Boston series, then a major adjustment in the Carolina series because of completely different styles of kill, and we're able to find a way to score some goals.
And we talked to Sergei a little bit about this, but the rust factor, I know you can't do anything about it, but is there any concern that 10 days off for a red-hot guy like that?
Oh, I'm not worried about him because he's got this routine that it's almost not related to what's going on in the schedule, whether he's playing 14 in a row like he did in March or we get 10 days off. He's got his routine. The concern you have is the difference between challenges and opportunity. There's a challenge to this. You get 10 days off. How do you can't stay in that emotional environment that you are and then the opportunity. We had some banged up guys, and we're moving pretty good on the ice. So that's the challenge. That's the opportunity. We'll take it. We'll take the rest. I think it gives us the best chance in the legs, and if it takes us a while to get back into it, then we got to be able to hold water until we do.
Thanks, everyone. We'll go to David DeWart.
Oh.
Followed by Mike Dean.
Did you just say thanks, everyone?
Yeah, they
Okay, because that's the cue for me, man. That was it. Yeah.
Just to kind of follow up on what you were saying, you guys have talked a lot about the importance of being in your routines and keeping steady. Now you're finally going to be flying out to Vegas. You're going to have a media day. Just how are you able to maintain those routines kind of heading into some uncharted territory?
Kind of within reason, because once you get to this round, a bunch of things change on you. One of them is the media requirements and the amount of time and the amount of access. So you spend more time at the rink dealing with these things. But I think my feel here is that we've never let routine cross over into superstition, that we have to have a certain thing at a certain time. We kind of go with the flow a little bit, and we'll just handle it as it comes. And then enjoy it too, because you work really hard to get here, and sure, there's more media requirements, and it's a longer flight, but that's a Western Conference opponent, and that's what's going to happen.
Paul, if I can ask you, it just seems to be a calm demeanor from your players talking to them in the dressing room about this moment. Is that a credit to you, to what you put these guys through? Because when you came here, you said, we're going to play playoff hockey, a style from day one.
I'd like to think that there's some confidence, and I would say this is probably true of Vegas. Confidence is earned, and you've earned something if you're playing in the final. You've done it now at a very high level for 6 weeks. In our case, we had to start running that back in January, but we've played hard hockey for 6 weeks, so we have some confidence that we're going to be able to do that again. That is where I would like to think the calm comes from. We also have spent an awful lot of time about handling the day that we're living in, and there's days that we're going to get wound up, and that's game day, and then we're going to come right down from that on our off day. So even in this schedule here, we've made our practice days a little bit more. There's more energy from the coaches in terms of how you present your meetings, and then on the off days, we've everything from changing your tone to the length of the meeting, the kind of day we want our players to experience. So we've staggered every second day, wind it up on our practice days, and mellow it out on our off days.
If I can follow up, you have some players who've won the Cup before. Do you lean towards those guys to tell the younger players, this is what you should expect?
Yeah, well, I think we leaned on those guys all year for the originating ideas that we wanted to play a game that we could replicate in the playoffs, right? We had to change the style of hockey that we played. So, even from the summertime, Patrick Hornquist was right on board with that because he understood it. Eric Stahls lived it. And then I would say maybe in the playoffs then, we lean on them a lot for logistics. The things that happen, right, when you fly out, when you leave, where are the things that kind of trip up players, right? For now, it's tickets in the 50 hotel rooms of all the people coming in to see games, all that other stuff, because they've been through it. They help us with a lot of logistics now. But Patrick and Eric have come to the rink the entire year with a smile on their face, all excited to be here, and that's really what's rubbed off over the course of the year. Now their smiles are a little bigger, and they're flying on the ice, and the guys feed off that.
Could you talk a little bit about your relationship with Bill Zito? Obviously, we've heard when you interviewed here the long hours, but over the course of your first season with him, and obviously he built a team with a lot of speed, a lot of the guys and forecheck. But I'm just dropping a line in the water. Anything that comes to mind when?
What I will be left with to summarize this season, Bill had a very strong idea at the start of the year of what this year could look like. And in fact, it did exactly what he thought he would see. I'm not saying he projected this,
right.
Just some of the adversity we were dealing with. It was very clear from day one that would be there. And then his consistency of mood the entire year in the coach's office, after wins or after losses, when we were in our difficult times talking through the things we were going through, players that needed to be pushed, players whose games needed to change. Whether he was a great leader in that he kind of kept us pointed to the right direction, even when it's never a straight line. You always get off your path, and there's frustration and tension when you drop a few games in a row, but he never showed that. He came in and said, set that message. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. Just stay on course.
We've heard a lot of guys talk about how they've been having the most fun they've ever had in their career under you. I mean, how do you get that out of these guys after maybe changing to a harder play style and putting these guys through as much adversity and that training camp? I mean, how do you manage that fun? And I mean, how did that happen?
It's all them. I mean, we're going to have a hard camp. We were going to have a hard year, regardless whether they liked it or not. And they found a way to like it. So we wouldn't squeeze that out of them. We wouldn't take that away from them. Even when things weren't going very well, work your ass off, have fun. There's the basic rules of playing here. It's really hard to get your team to work as hard as they did. They did that on their own. The first 5 days of camp were hard, and they never broke. They didn't quit. It was just hard. And then when you came to the rink the next day, they were dragging a little bit, but they're still telling jokes and laughing. So we could do that too, right? I think maybe if there was a change I've learned over time, it's okay if the players see you having fun too. It's okay, right? And I would especially say that's true. It was not true in my first decade and a half. That there was a different time. But for minor coaches, for young coaches, you always say to the kids, let's go have fun. But they don't see, if you're yelling all the time and in a bad mood all the time, you're never having fun. When's it okay to have fun? So here it's okay. Work your ass off and have some fun. But that's not me. It truly isn't. They went out and worked hard. I didn't say much about it. They had fun. It was all good. And that's who they are.
Is that the biggest change to you from when you were young?
No, I mean, you put a lot of time into learning the game and trying to figure out what's important. I mean, there are times that experience helps, and playoffs is one of those times a little bit. Maybe I answered that question too fast. I have more fun coming to the rink now than I ever have. But that's got nothing to do with me or, hey, I'm going to go have fun. I wouldn't have. Oh, my God. I wasn't having fun on the bench in Toronto. That didn't look like a man having fun. But it was honest. And they allow it. They allow it, too. I would just say that maybe I've not hidden. There's some funny stuff that happens in that room. And even in meetings, it's pretty funny. And it's okay to laugh. It's okay to be relaxed and laugh because those men have earned the right to know that they're going to come and play as hard as they can.
Did that time away from Winnipeg help?
No, it's not related to my past like that. It's related to walking into this room. When I told you it's about the players, that great line, don't be so humble, you're not that good. It's an awesome line, right? I'm not trying to coaching staff has a section of things that they got to do. We've been pretty good at it this year. It's the room. There's an unusual group of guys in there, and they were like that before I got here, and then we got some more personalities, really important personalities came in. It's about the players here. It truly is. I'm just having fun because they allow it. If they hadn't worked hard, if they hadn't got to hard, it wouldn't have been that much fun.